Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC. Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah.
On 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me, 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Friday, thank God, April 18th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. A mostly sunny day on the way. High 66. And the weekend, wow, it's going to be great. So Saturday will be mostly cloudy, but the high is going to be 82, so pull out the shorts, the T-shirts, and then Sunday, a little cooler, sun and clouds, high 68 if you are walking out the door with us right now. 35 and clear in Mastic Beach out on Long Island. It's 39 and clear in East Brunswick over in New Jersey, and it's 46 and a couple clouds right outside our Midtown studios.
The top 5 at 5.
President Trump says he can fix what's wrong with Penn Station. Letitia James says she's done no wrong. Cops have caught up with a crazy cat lady. Where do you go in New York if you're bitten by a snake? And Moses has been spotted on the M train. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. Overnight, a Long Island Railroad train hit a car on the tracks last night along the Ronkonkoma branch, and there's going to be some issues this morning. The train hit the car. This was about 8 o'clock in East Farmingdale, just west of the Pine Lawn Station. Service was suspended both directions between Hicksville and Ronkonkoma. As a result, the car was on the Wellwood Avenue when it was hit, and there was about 80 people on the train. They sat on the train waiting to find out exactly what was going to happen for about 2 hours last night.
The whole front of the train pretty much was engulfed in smoke. They had let us know that, they had hit some type of something on the track, and therefore they ended up moving us to the back of the train, and we waited to be evacuated pretty much.
Yeah, so we don't know the condition of the driver. We were trying to get that as we came to air, but nobody seems to have any details on that. Why was the car on the train tracks? Just don't know that either, as the 80 or so plus people on the train were finally moved off and then put on some buses and trains so they could get back home.
They kept just saying that everything's going to be fine. We're waiting for updates pretty much,
We were on the train and it kind of just all of a sudden made a crashy kind of sound, but I wasn't in the car that I think hit the car. And then I smelled burning.
There was an investigation, of course, done during the overnight. And in a moment, we'll take a peek at what it's going to do to the Ronkonkoma line. When I looked a couple moments ago, there were delays, but it's still kind of early. They're going to have to use just one track. Of course, we'll follow this story all morning long. 5:02, down to Florida. 2 people dead, 5 hurt after a shooting at Florida State University. And all the details coming in the last hours or so. The FSU police chief detailing the situation.
FSU police responded immediately, engaged, neutralized, and apprehended the shooter.
Yeah, so it happened near a crowded student union right at lunchtime on the Tallahassee campus. There were, again, 2 deaths.
2 victims of deceased are deceased, and 5 individuals have been transported to a local hospital with gunshot wounds.
Now, the student involved was a current student at FSU.
FSU police responded immediately, engaged, neutralized, and apprehended the shooter. 2 victims of deceased are deceased, and 5 individuals have been transported to a local hospital with gunshot wounds. The student union and the surrounding area is still considered an active crime scene. Individuals should avoid the area.
In pretty quick time, we're starting to learn who this student is. Apparently, he was somebody described as having white supremacist views. The one-time president of a political club at Tallahassee State College says this individual was asked to leave the club because of his white supremacist rhetoric.
He espoused so much white supremacist rhetoric and far-right rhetoric as well to the point where we had to exercise that rule.
This is a conservative group on the college campus. They say they have a no-Nazi rule. I mean, you should hope they'd have a no-Nazi rule. But he says the rhetoric was so bad that they asked this individual to never return.
I don't know why he would have done something like this. I don't know where it would have come from. But I'd sure like to find out. I was getting ready to die, which was harrowing.
Yeah, so people talking about what it was like to be on this campus as these bullets were being fired. The suspected killer, who allegedly used one of his mother's former service pistols, apparently she is connected to the deputies department. That's apparently where we're being told the gun came from. I'm not going to identify the 20-year-old because I'm seeing a couple different identifications, but either way, that's what they're being told, that he was motivated by hate, was a white supremacist. 505. The mother of the Texas high schooler accused of a track meet murder, speaking out for the first time. Kayla Hayes says her family has been receiving death threats.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her.
So her son, Carmelo Anthony, is out on bond after being charged with the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf at a track meet. You remember this story from a number of weeks ago. Hayes denied the claims that the family has used some donations that have come in to buy a new home in a gated community. Metcalf's father was at this news conference but was escorted away by police.
My 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming.
Yeah, it's been one of those crazy stories that's gone viral. Lots of people talking about it. 506, Luigi Mangione being indicted on federal charges for the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Mangione has been accused of shooting and killing Thompson back in December. On Thursday, a federal jury in New York returned a 4-count indictment against him. He's been officially charged with 2 counts of stalking, a firearms offense, and murder with a firearm. The last charge makes him eligible for the death penalty if convicted. I'm Brian Shook.
Yesterday, authorities announcing another big violent gang takedown here in the city. The Bronx District Attorney, Darcel Clark, says 20 alleged gang members indicted in the Crotona section of the borough, with most already in handcuffs for a series of violent incidents, including 13 shootings.
These defendants allegedly shot at rival gangs without any regard for the innocent bystanders caught in between them in the line of fire.
The defendants face various charges, including murder, manslaughter, and the 73-count indictment. The announcement comes just a week after authorities charged 16 people in a massive gun violence gang takedown in East Harlem. Here's the police commissioner, Jessica Tisch.
In one case, 6 rounds were fired at a city bus as people were getting off. In another, bullets flew just feet from a family standing on the sidewalk with 2 small children.
509, down to Washington. President Trump believes progress is being made on those tariffs and trade deals.
I think that you will see we'll make a very good deal with China.
Speaking during a meeting with the Italian Prime Minister yesterday, Trump says he has immense respect for Prime Minister Meloni, and the U.S. is going to have little problems making deals with Europe.
Then we had a rigged election, and it was just one of those little things, and it got away from us because Biden allowed every country in the world to rip off the United States, and I'm here to save our country.
President Trump also yesterday talking about the fact that he wants the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, to be fired. Now, I don't know that he has the power to do that.
I don't think he's doing the job. He's too late, always too late, a little slow, and I'm not happy with him. I let him know it, and if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
Trump made the comments speaking to reporters in the Oval Office. It came after Powell warned on Wednesday that tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation. Now, Powell's a fellow Republican. His term ends in 2026. He's previously said he would not step down if Trump asked him to. And he went on to say it's not permitted under the law for a president to fire or demote him.
We have a Federal Reserve Chairman that is playing politics. Somebody that I've never been very fond of, actually. but he's playing politics.
And Powell says the Federal Reserve needs more clarity before they can make any rate changes.
We're never going to be influenced by any political pressure. People can say whatever they want. That's fine.
Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren coming to Powell's defense, warning there'd be chaos if he's booted.
If Chairman Powell can be fired by the President of the United States, it will crash the markets in the United States.
And we're hearing more about what these tariffs might be doing. So Chinese retail sites, Shein and Temu, say their prices are going to go up next week because of President Trump's tariffs. Correspondent Janice Mackey-Freyer reports from a hair accessory factory in China that prices for other goods from that country are also going to rise.
Several countries are negotiating with the Trump administration to have tariffs reduced, but China is not one of them. So when goods like this get exported to the U.S., the people who want them are going to pay more.
Now, it's a little confusing to follow all that's going on with these tariffs, but tariffs on Chinese products are now at 145%, and the president has also ended a duty-free exemption for goods worth less than $800, which helped bring in some 1.4 billion packages to the U.S. last year. So all this playing on what's going to happen maybe in the coming days.
We met sisters from the Chicago area who sell hair clips to retailers, mostly in the Midwest and in Florida. They say they're cautious, but they have to keep business going. If they don't buy here, their stores don't have products to sell, and they're hoping the trade war blows over. With tariffs on Chinese goods now at 145% and global markets sliding, the trade war is impacting production lines here that are now sending less to the U.S.
Now, overall, the markets have been down since these tariffs have been announced. Nothing's going to happen today because it's Good Friday and those markets are closed. 5:13, the White House continues to revoke international student visas at New York institutions, and people here in the city reacting.
Not going to revoke for no reason. They're here on a visa, and they got to respect our land, respect our property. Nobody cares anymore. Just stop protesting.
I mean, that's just insane. Everything's crazy right now in America. We're just insane. My daughter's a Columbia grad, and it's just sad to see what's happening.
So Fordham University has confirmed 4 student visas were revoked earlier this month, telling the Bronx Times that the Department of Homeland Security gave them no reason. Lehman College told the same outlet that one student was given 15 days to leave the U.S. or risk being arrested by immigration enforcement. The Trump administration has so far pulled roughly 1,300 visas for students and recent grads at more than 200 colleges across the nation, saying it's part of the president's order to target anti-Semitism amid pro-Palestinian rhetoric on campuses across the country. 5:14, those Palestinian protests last year, which rocked several colleges in Texas, could lead to change there. Lawmakers there looking to make it illegal for students to support terror groups.
A first violation results in a 1-year suspension.
That's the state rep who is sponsoring this bill that would create a list of those arrested for being part of these protests. If they're members of the faculty, they would be fired and banned from future employment at other colleges.
And a second violation may lead to expulsion or termination.
And he says the students arrested twice, they could be expelled from the system altogether.
Additionally, any actions taken must be reported to Homeland Security.
5:14, while we're talking about that type of thing, the Supreme Court going to take up the question now of birthright citizenship.
President Trump signed an executive order ending automatic birthright citizenship as enshrined in the Constitution's 14th Amendment. Trump wants to confer citizenship only on those who have at least one parent who is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Several lower courts have blocked the effort, and the highest court will hear oral arguments next month. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Now, in a moment, we're going to go out to California. It's been 100 days since those wildfires. So how is life for all those people who lost their homes? We'll find out in a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Al-Laden. Start here on the diamond from Tampa Bay, where the Yankees return to their spring training home, George M. Steinbrenner Field, to play division rival Tampa Bay Rays. They beat them, doubled up on the Rays 6-3. Well, Tim Hill gets to win 2 innings out of the bullpen, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, 2 Ks, 0 walks. He was part of a hearty bullpen effort following starter Will Warren's failure to get out of the second inning. Devin Williams secured his 4th save of the season with a scoreless 9th. Oswaldo Cabrera hit a solo shot for the Yanks innings, and Ben Rice provided insurance with a 2-run single and wrapped to the win. Up next for the Yankees, Game 2 of 4 in Tampa with the Rays, set for a 7:05 p.m. first pitch, with Carlos Rodon tasked to start for New York. In Queens, Mark Vientos hit his first homer of the season to spark a 4-run second inning, and the Mets beat the St. Louis Cardinals 4-1 in the opener of a 4-game set. Brett Beatty and Francisco Lindor had RBI singles in the second, which ended when Tyrone Taylor scored as Lindor got caught in a rundown between first and second. Lindor had 3 hits on the night. Up next for the Mets, the lefty David Peterson gets the ball in tonight's Game 2 of 4 with St. Louis in town. First pitch there is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. To the NHL at the Garden, Zibanejad scored twice and Shesterkin made 27 saves, and the Rangers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-0 in their regular season finale. Vinny Trocheck and Chris Kreider also scored for the Rangers, who missed the playoffs a year, and after winning the President's Trophy as the league's best team. Every Ranger wore a blue number 40 jersey with, quote, Rosen on the back during warm-ups to honor Hall of Fame broadcaster Sam Rosen, who called his final game after 40 years as the team's television play-by-play voice. The jerseys also included a patch on the front with Rosen's famous call, "It's a power play goal." How was that?
Well, you sound exactly like Sam Rosen.
Was that just like him?
Exactly. I've never heard him before, but I imagine that's exactly what he sounds like.
Uncanny, right?
It really is.
I thought so.
Uncanny that you even tried to do that, because it wasn't even close.
Does he have a signature thing that he used to say during hockey games?
I mean, well, it's a power play goal, but it's so funny.
I mean,
because
that's not so great.
What
it's
else?
A power play goal. I can come up with that on my own.
Well, and what else would you say when the team scores a power play?
It's a power play goal.
Yeah, it is a power play goal. It very literally is a power play goal. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like John Sterling or anything.
No, but of course, the other famous call when they won the cup. This one will last a lifetime. I think everybody also remembers that one.
Did
as
you
well.
rehearse that at home? I mean,
did I? Did I
no,
rehearse?
Did he?
No, I don't.
That's not so great.
What, when they won the Stanley Cup?
No,
it almost might have to last a lifetime. It has lasted a lifetime for some people.
How about Now I Can Rest in Peace or something like that?
Well, he's not dying.
No, but I don't know. I come up with a lot better. That's all.
Well, you haven't yet. You haven't yet. Okay, so if you can come up with a lot better,
by 5:45, I'm going to come up with some more.
Yeah, you're going to have to give me a list. I mean,
I'm not impressed with the Sam Rosen guy in the least.
Jeez, he picked Good Friday of all days to slam the great Sam Rosen.
Right. Would you have pictured Gnome Layden raining on everybody's parade?
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like I know you're Jewish, as am I, but you don't have to. I mean, come on. It's not our day today. It's okay. We don't have to be upset about it.
One has nothing to do with the other. Sam Rosen and Good Friday.
I might beg to differ.
I'm guessing Sam Rosen doesn't even celebrate.
I think you're projecting.
I think you're probably right about that. I'm sure he feels like it's Good Friday and he's doing something right now.
He's eating matzah. That's probably what
he's doing. It's a power play goal. No?
See, much better.
Wow. That's unbelievable. It's a power play goal.
Wow. That was much better than mine.
Your day's all different. Right? Don't rain on someone else's.
Sorry. All right.
Okay.
Good luck to him. I'm sure he's a great guy.
Yeah, got a couple of NBA. He is a great guy. My God, he's a Hall of Famer. Jesus.
It's a power play goal.
Okay, settle down.
Wow, what a legend.
Jesus, I'm going to have to make a call to management.
No, we're going to do something awful to know today. Incredibly, wow.
A couple of play-in games in the NBA. I got to finish the damn sports.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Tonight you got the Heat and the Hawks. That's the 8th seed game in the East. Winner will face 1 seed Cleveland. And at 9:30, the Mavericks and the Grizzlies. That's out west for the 8th seed. The winner will face 1 seed OKC. And, of course, we're looking ahead to tomorrow, where our New York Knicks get underway in their first round matchup with the Detroit Pistons. That'll be a 6 p.m. tip from the Garden. That is your Sports Know, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC. Think about what you said.
Yeah,
just think about it.
It's a power play goal.
Yeah, no, just think about it.
It's a power play goal.
Yeah.
I'm Sam Rosen.
Forget it. It's useless.
Oh my God,
he's got no heart.
Well, he's a lost cause.
Right.
God, like a Vulcan.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
Hey, business owners, make your cash secure again with Secure Cash LLC. Transporting your business's cash safely in armored trucks. SecureCashLLC.com.
WABC News Time 5:21. Let's go out to Los Angeles. It's been 100 days since the January wildfires that destroyed 2 communities in L.A.
It's been 100 days of resilience, 100 days of a community and our city
refusing to give up.
That's Los Angeles Mayor Bass says the recovery effort from the fires has been inspirational to the entire world. Bass also announced that all the debris from the library and the Pacific Palisades has been removed and they're ready to rebuild. She says the cost of rebuilding going to be about 100% reimbursed by FEMA. And she says the recovery in the past 100 days has been a sign of resilience and inspiration.
Not just across the city, but across the country and across the world, as everyone has watched what happened here and how we are in the process of restoring and rebuilding this community.
WABC News Time 522. While we're out in Los Angeles, the resentencing hearing for the Menendez brothers was a back and forth between the DA and the defense yesterday outside the Van Nuys courthouse before the hearing began. The L.A. County DA, Nathan Hochman, said it's a no when it comes to resentencing, and it partly because he says the brothers have not taken responsibility for murdering their parents.
Bring on the facts. We do not in any way view the facts in a myopic way, focus just on the 90s facts.
Defense attorney Mark Garagos says Hochman has some kind of agenda in the case and is ignoring a California constitutional victims' right law in regard to the family.
They're the victims. They have the unique situation of both being victims in this case and relatives of the defendants. Because of that unique nature, apparently the DA has said he gets a constitutional hall pass.
Now, the boys, well, they're not boys, they're men, but the brothers' lawyer is arguing that they're victims themselves. Now, if you had not followed the story back in the 80s, they killed both of their parents in their Beverly Hills home and then later on claimed that they had been abused by their father for years, and that's why they took him out. And so they say that all should be part of resentencing them and maybe letting them out from behind bars.
It's appalling, for lack of a better term, how the DA has treated this case.
Now, the DA continues to say they've shown no remorse, that the brothers have not shown any remorse for what they did.
Because, again, the 90s facts are the ones that we're pointing out have continued all the way to this present day, where the Menendez brothers have chosen not to come fully clean with the full breadth of their criminal conduct.
Now, I will point out the Menendez family, the siblings that are alive of the parents, are the ones who've been advocating for them to get out from behind bars. Now, it seemed like last year, before they replaced the DA in Los Angeles, these men, the Menendez brothers, were really close to getting out from behind bars. They were going to go back home, but now it's looking less likely that's going to happen. From California, let's go down to Florida, where all over the country this is starting to happen. Florida House is now going to pass a bill that removes employment restrictions on kids and how many hours they can work. For a long time, for many years, teenagers were restricted in the amount of hours they could work during the course of a week. But now a lot of places are saying, no, let's let, if the teenagers can do it and they want to do it during the course of the school week, they should be able to work a fair amount of hours.
So for those reasons, like the Pages and the 14-year-old baggers and our homeschoolers, and having complete confidence in you, Rep. Miller, that this is not about working miners at the salt mines, I am in support of this and giving flexibility and more opportunities for our youth.
Yeah, there had been so many restrictions in place that would stop teens from working a certain amount of hours. Now, in a lot of cases, these teenagers who are working many hours are helping support their family or raising money to go to college.
And children today, the only way to get out of poverty is through an education, whether it's through an apprenticeship, whether it's through going to college.
So we've seen this happen in a number of states and towns across the country. Florida looks like it'll be the latest one to do this.
When we protect unnecessarily, we are actually preventing the kind of economic mobility that we want students to have.
Yeah, 526. Let's go down to Washington. RFK Jr. says he wants to move away from what he calls an ideology that the rising rate of autism in the U.S. is the result of better diagnoses. Now, reporter Ann Thompson reports the Secretary of Health and Human Services made the comments at a news conference yesterday.
RFK Jr. discounting the CDC's own previous finding that genetic predisposition is a risk factor in developing autism, and doubling down on his assertion that it's an epidemic.
Genes do not cause epidemics. You need an environmental toxin.
It is interesting to see all this pushback to Kennedy, who wants to create this committee to investigate why so many kids are autistic. And not really, I think many of these people are upset because he's connected vaccines to autism. But he says he's willing to hear all sides to try to figure this all out.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. taking aim at the CDC's latest report on rising autism rates.
This is a preventable disease. We know it's an environmental exposure.
The report released Tuesday says 1 in 31 8-year-olds were identified with autism spectrum disorder in 2022.
Now, if you remember, RFK Jr. says once he puts this committee together, they work over the summer, he thinks he can find a cure or the cause of autism as soon as the fall. Now, look, I hope he's right. I don't think that's possible, but I'm rooting him on because I think the rest of the world is as well. It'll be interesting to see what he finds after all these people from all over the world come and try to work together to figure out the cause of autism.
You're listening to the #1 Nielsen rated. The News Hour with Noam Laden. Thank you for listening. 77 WABC. It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC. Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Friday, April 18th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mostly sunny day on the way. High 66, and then the weekend looks really good. Saturday, mostly cloudy, but the high is going to be 82. And then Sunday, sun and clouds, high 68. If you are walking out the door with us right now, it is 35 and clear in Mastic Beach out on Long Island. It's 39 and clear in East Brunswick over in New Jersey. And it is 46 and a couple clouds right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time, 5:38. The Trump administration gonna can take control of the $7 billion plan to renovate Penn Station. They'll sideline the MTA. I mean, how many years do we have to put up with a god-awful Penn Station? Now, they've never done what's under Madison Square Garden, that part right there. I mean, it's terrible. It's like, I feel bad for the people who will have to walk in there every day. It's kind of like the Port Authority. It's just miserable. So now, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says his agency will deliver a world-class Penn Station by working with Amtrak and working with the people, above on Madison Square Garden. So he says Penn Station will save $120 million in this whole process of rebuilding the train station. So they're going to use federal dollars to build this, is what it all comes down to. And when you ask New Yorkers about it, who have to walk through Penn Station every day, they say, finally, someone's going to fix what's wrong.
As long as they do what they're supposed to, I don't really mind. Doesn't matter who does it. MTA is not the greatest anyway.
Trump in New York, if you kind of look at his real estate policy in history, this sounds like a really bad idea. It sounds like a joke.
Right. So not everybody's on board because that's the Trump name on it. But for years, New York State and city officials have sought to rebuild the nation's busiest train hub, which has just had problems for decades. The plan for Penn Station includes a 250,000 square foot facility with more room for passengers, circulation, elevators, escalators, entrances, exits, retail space. Now, Governor Hochul claims that when she met with the president at the White House, she asked the feds to take this over to get it done. Either way, it's time for a new Penn Station. How long does it have to take to rebuild the damn thing?
I don't know if I believe it will, but we'll see. The political climate is not conducive to things that I believe in.
Yeah, so you can't blame the people who come through Penn Station for not believing that anything will change because it's been like that for decades. But the Trump administration says they'll work on this plan to rebuild the infrastructure down below in Penn Station. 540. New York State Attorney General Letitia James calls President Trump's accusations against her of falsified real estate records baseless. So New York One had obtained this criminal referral letter written by the president's federal housing director. The letter claims that James in multiple instances falsified bank documents and property records. The letter questions whether James committed mortgage fraud to obtain better loan terms. And so she came out last night. It's the first time we've heard her talk about it. She was on New York One, and she says there's nothing at all to this story. She says it's just political payback from the White House.
No, not at all. And let me just say to all New Yorkers and to all Americans, the allegations are baseless. The allegations are nothing more than a revenge tour. My office was successful in securing a $454 million judgment against Donald Trump and others for exaggerating the value of his assets.
And so James claims that that is the reason the Trump administration's coming after her. But she says, bring it on, because she says she's done no wrong.
So let me just say that, Errol, as any good attorney, I will not litigate this case in a camera. It's important that we will respond to these allegations at the appropriate time and in an appropriate way. But I will not go back and forth with respect to these baseless allegations.
And when you ask New Yorkers on the street, they want to know what's going on.
Yeah, she put her father as a husband on a mortgage. I'm a believer in God, and if you do something wrong, it's going to come back and bite you,
I don't believe it, because Trump is going after her. End of story. He's on a revenge tour. That's it. He's disgusting.
The AG, Tish James, says she'll have more to say about this in the coming days. 5:42. Let's go up to the Hudson Valley. A woman facing 122 counts of animal neglect in Orange County after dozens of sick cats were found living in deplorable conditions inside an old school bus. The Hudson Valley SPCA handing over photos to News 12 of what were really just horrific conditions, showing the bus just covered in feces, these cats just in terrible shape. A rescue agency came in, is taking care of its 64 cats in all had to be rescued. A number of them have already died. And you imagine that's tough for the people who find these cats and want to take care of them.
We have skin infections, upper respiratory infections. One of them right now has terrible staph infection. One we're pretty sure is septic.
Now, this is one of these crazy stories where we had heard about this bus, and animal rights activists had heard about this bus. New York City cops had warned people in the Hudson Valley that there's somebody driving around with a bus or in a bus with all these cats inside. And finally, they caught up with them. And it's this 70-year-old woman who's accused of all kinds of things. Her name is Ruth Ibanez. Usually what you find when it comes to this kind of craziness is these people have mental health issues. And I don't know if that's the case here, but either way, she's facing a slew of charges. They try to rehabilitate all these cats.
I think this is the worst. I mean, just in terms of health, overall horrific health.
Yeah, if you're an animal lover, boy, it's sad to see all that. 5:44 in New Jersey, drivers complaining over potentially tainted gas at a station in Keyport. Several of them say after filling up, their cars broke down. The problem has left these drivers stuck with all kinds of repairs, some of them thousands of dollars. The station in question is a BP gas station on Clark Road, which is right off the Garden State Parkway. Here's one of the women who says she filled up her gas tank at this gas station and all went wrong after that. She spoke to Eyewitness News.
I went there, got about 12 gallons of gas, went about 3 miles on the parkway, all of a sudden completely broke down. My car sputtered, shut off, all my lights went on, my engine light, my gas light, my oil light, everything.
So now the pumps at the station, they're blocked off, each nozzle marked with a condemned rad tag after an investigation by the Office of Weights and Measures. Dozens of complaints have been pouring into social media sites. The Keyport Police Department says you should absolutely report this to them so then you can go back and maybe get some money from BP.
At 12:19 is when we got the first call. So if you went to that gas station during that time, I would recommend you look into it. You need to file a report here so we can get it on record and we can document it, and then they can go forward with that report and bring it to the BP. Contact them.
BP says it's working with those affected. At least one of the repairs, we've been told $1,700.
I went from 60 miles an hour to 40 in 2 seconds on the parkway to accelerate, and it's absolutely terrifying. I was towed down to Tom's River by my mechanic, and he basically told me I had 12 gallons of water in my tank.
Yeah, so the word going around is that water from recent rains may have seeped into a cracked tank, and that's what's caused all the problems. All right, 5:45. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's the president of the Sam Rosen Fan Club, Justin Ellick.
I'm not the president of anything. Settle down, all right? But you're clearly not, on the Mensa board of the Sam Rosen.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my God. You still haven't given me one salient reason as to why you don't like the man.
It's a power play goal.
I'd just give up. Give up.
Oh, my God.
It's a power play.
Who wronged you?
Yeah, he had something happen.
Something happened. You were run into him. Did he bump into you on the street or something?
Or I'm going to tell the story one day when I write a book.
Take your seat on the subway.
I had
an
incident with Sam Rosen. Yeah.
You definitely did at some point. Maybe it wasn't him. No. God.
Maybe it was a different Sam Rosen?
Somebody, maybe it looks like him. I don't know.
It's a short-handed
He does have more of a distinct look to him, but, you know, I mean, my goodness gracious. Anyway, I guess we'll start there. At the NHL on the ice last night at the Garden, Zibanejad scored twice. Shesterkin made 27 saves. The Rangers win their regular season finale over the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-0, and every Ranger wore a blue number 40 jersey with, quote, Rosen on the back during warm-ups to honor Hall of Fame broadcaster Sam Rosen, much to the chagrin of a one Noam Laden, who called his final game after 40 years as the team's television play-by-play voice. The jerseys also included a patch on the front with Rosen's famous call, "It's a power play goal," in Columbus. I tried to make it seamless and move on and just, kind of segue right into the Islanders here, wrapping up their regular season.
That's fine.
Nobody really cares, but they got routed by the Blue Jackets 6-1. But Columbus, they were still in contention for the final Eastern Conference wildcard spot that ultimately went to Montreal, with the Canadiens win over Carolina yesterday. On the Diamond, the Yankees, they beat the Rays out in Tampa 6-3. They get game 2 of 4 going tonight, 7:05 p.m. First pitch, Carlos Rodon on the bump there. And out in Queens, Mark Vientos hit his first home run of the season, and the Mets beat the St. Louis Cardinals 4-1 in the opener of their 4-game set. They get game 2 of 4 going tonight. First pitch there, 7:10 p.m. The lefty David Peterson will take the hill. And NBA playing games, looking forward to tonight, 7 p.m. the Heat and the Hawks in the East for the 8th seed. Winner faces 1 seed Cleveland. And at 9:30 p.m. you get the Mavericks and the Grizzlies in the West. That's for the 8th seed out West. The winner faces 1 seed OKC in the first round. And, of course, we're looking ahead to tomorrow night at 6 p.m. The Knicks get going in their opening round series against the Detroit Pistons at 6 p.m. That is your Sports Know, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
News time, 5:49. Let's go out to Long Island. 10 people hospitalized yesterday in a carbon monoxide poisoning incident inside a home where had a number of apartments. The Brentwood fire chief says an improperly functioning oil burner in the basement of this multifamily home was determined to be the source of this poison gas leak. Now, the good news is it seems everybody's going to be okay, but for a while it did not look good. 2 of the 10 people were found unconscious in this home and taken to the hospital.
My mom and my brother are at the hospital. She called me when she was on the way to the hospital. Something with the boiler happened, and the gas just went everywhere, and they're not feeling well.
Yeah, so here's the good news, is we're told everybody's going to be okay. The home, at least for now, is condemned. The Red Cross assisting those people who've been displaced. It burned to the ground 4.5 years ago, but now the church that's home of New York City's oldest congregation is becoming new again. Middle Collegiate College, that's in the East Village, is going to reopen just in time for Easter. And the timing, of course, is great for this historic congregation's pastor and for these congregants who lost their church back in 2020. Here's the pastor there who's thrilled that everybody will be together come Easter Sunday.
This is proof of resurrection. This is proof of faith. This is proof of love, not being daunted by death, not being crimped by fire. You can be scorched by fire, but love outlasts.
Now, they made the church even nicer now. It's going to be a bunch of offices, some classrooms, an industrial kitchen. They'll also have an area where they'll feed the homeless, which has always been some of the work they've done at this church.
To discuss what it's like to be a pastor to a people who lost their building in a fire, the pain of it all the time. Our stories are in this ground. They are in this space. So coming home to them is really like coming home to love.
Yes, so it's a big weekend at Middle Collegiate Church in the East Village. The jury selection process continues in the retrial of disgraced former movie producer Harvey Weinstein.
So far, 9 jurors have been chosen out of the 12 needed, along with 6 alternates. Meanwhile, defense attorneys asked a judge on Wednesday to allow Weinstein to be transferred from the Rikers Island jail to Bellevue Hospital at night until the end of his trial. They point out the 73-year-old's numerous health issues. Weinstein is facing facing 1 count of rape and 2 counts of criminal sexual acts connected to alleged incidents involving an actress in a hotel room, a production assistant, and another woman who was not part of the original trial. I'm Liz Radabali for 77 WABC News.
Just 2 weeks after they went into effect, New York City now going to pause fines on smaller buildings that are not composting.
Amid complaints from residents and building owners and gripes about making city life even more expensive, the Adams administration relented on composting fines late Thursday. Starting immediately, compost fines will no longer be issued to buildings with fewer than 30 units. Larger buildings will still be fined. An Adams spokesperson said the pause will run through the end of the year and through the end of the current term for Mayor Eric Adams. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
While we're talking about Mayor Adams, he signed some legislation yesterday bringing down more of those unsightly scaffolding sheds across the city. He signed legislation that reduces the amount of time property owners can have these structures up.
2, improve the designs of sidewalk sheds that do go up. And 3, change how often we inspect our buildings. Increase the lighting on the sheds and issue penalties to buildings that let sheds stay up for years.
The city has already taken down more than 300 long-standing sheds across the city.
Too many building owners have made the decision, instead of completing the inspections and repairs, they're letting sheds languish above our streets, restaurants, and apartments, crowding our sidewalks and darkening our streets.
And while we're talking about Mayor Adams, he was slamming former Governor Cuomo's mayoral campaign for using AI, which apparently led to a botched housing plan. Adams claims what Cuomo's campaign ended up with was his housing plan.
So when he went to AI to say, can you give us one of the greatest housing plans we can do, they pulled out my moonshot goal.
Adams says that includes his goal of 500,000 units in 10 years.
His people failed to say, well, who had the plan first? If that's not an example of taking my moonshot goal of 500,000 units in 10 years and AI found it for him.
554, the Trump Justice Department is calling expelled former Long Island Congressman George Santos remorseless, and his prison term could be long.
That's what prosecutors with the Eastern District of New York wrote in their pre-sentencing filing Thursday. They noted Santos complained on social media about being a victim. Santos has pleaded guilty just 2 weeks ago, then denied using campaign cash to buy luxury goods, which he's previously admitted to. The Republican who briefly represented parts of Nassau County and Queens faces a minimum of 2 years in prison when he's sentenced on Long Island next Friday for wire fraud and identity theft. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Have you seen Moses on the M train? Apparently he's been everywhere. Everybody's been sending me these TikTok videos of these pop-up Seders, Passover Seders, on the subway train. So we now know who it is. This guy's name is Rami Even Esh. And he's also known as a rapper. His name is Kosha Dills. Okay. So he's been doing these Passover Seders on the subway. You get on, and I guess they do a couple prayers. Well, here he is.
He said the Passover rap soldier just chilling in the place to be. You ain't ever seen a Moses like me on that MIC. It's getting weird.
So he says these lighthearted pop-up Seders, he says, are uniting New Yorkers. And he says he wants to spread Jewish culture when there's some anti-Semitism out there.
Give the guy some matzah. Pass him some matzah right there. Let's break him in. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We're so afraid to engage in conversations with people today that we'll just never talk to them again because it's just the easier way out. When it comes to like embracing Jewish culture in New York, you can't really have one without the others. Happy Passover.
Yeah, so his name again, Kosha Dills, like Dillz.
I saw this guy perform at the Fifth Avenue Synagogue when they honored me.
Is he funny?
2 times. He's very good.
Oh.
But I do want to tell you.
You paused there for a moment like you were.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Good.
But I do want to tell you that in the spirit of Kosha Dills and his Pesach on the subway, so I took a picture of myself on the 4 train yesterday.
Wait, are you going to make this story about yourself and not Kosha Dills?
That's correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So I have my 2 necklaces that I wear, one a Jewish star and one my Israeli dog tag that was given to me.
Right.
And I unbuttoned my shirt to the point where you can see the necklaces. And my head's leaned back, and I'm tan. I look like $1,000,000. And I put on Twitter, @SidRosenberg19, @SidRosenberg19, I don't hide my Jewish identity on the subways in New York. I'm right here, tough guy.
Right. So did someone come up to you or something?
Well, they have in the past.
Oh, okay.
Needless to say, with only 3,000 followers so far on Twitter, because it's a brand new account, it's already got 36,000 views.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes.
Almost as much as Kosher Dills.
Is that right?
I don't know. Wait, here's one more from Kosher Dills.
Inching back to some sort of normalcy in New York where people aren't trying to attack every single Jewish person for, what's happening, over 6,000 miles away.
We need to learn about everybody's differences, We got to live together.
Yeah, that's one woman who ran into the Passover Seder and said she had never seen one before, so she sat down on the train and took part in it.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?